G'day, welcome back to another episode of the Wing It podcast. Dogger's got some mystery going on with his iPhone right now, and it's somehow standing up flat. On its head. Anyway, that was random. Bit of a bonus episode today, and we've got a couple more bonus episodes coming your way across the next few days. Pretty much because I have a torn ankle, a torn ligament in my ankle, and I can't do anything. And Dogger's stuck in quarantine, so we got too much time and not to do. What about you, Dogger?
Yeah, exactly. No, as soon as the sport finishes, as I said on last night's pod, got nothing to do. So may as well just pump out some podcasts for our loyal listeners and viewers. And then, they can enjoy it.
Exactly right. Now, today's episode, we'll break away from our standard AFL and episodes or NBA episodes, talk about a few other things. So we'll react to the NBA that was today, and we're going to do our updated brackets for the rest of the playoffs. We'll go through the F1s. Dogger and I are big F1 fans, so we'll go through that as well with the Azerbaijan race on this weekend. Great time zone for us this weekend, isn't it, Dogger?
Yeah, it's perfect. As we were saying before, it's pretty much Melbourne and Azerbaijan Grand Prix that are perfect for us. So really looking forward to Baku, and should be really good. Hopefully Daniel Ricciardo gets up, but don't see it happening.
No, one can hope. And then we'll obviously finish up with some AFL tips for the footy tonight, just for the Friday night game, I reckon. We might go a little bit into Saturday, but probably just tonight's game. A little bit of value, we think, going around. Not an easy one for punting, but a little bit of value going around. All right, well, without any further ado, let's kick off the NBA that was today. Very first game, Denver and Portland. Now, we were both very keen on Portland. You had them at 11+, so I had a -5. And we both fell flat, didn't we?
Yeah, big time. It's either Portland get up big or they lose in a close one, and they've done it again, just proving that they can't really win close games at the moment. Don't really know what's going on. They've got one of the most clutch players in the NBA right now, so don't know what's going on. Dame was unbelievable in the game before this one, dropping 55, and he's even dropped the most threes in a playoff series ever. So pretty brutal to go down. Obviously, it wasn't much of his fault. It was just the supporting cast around him. Couldn't get it done.
It's really starting to become a hairy thing with Damian Lillard now. I understand the loyalty part, and I think that's what makes him such a respected and loved player. But when does it become a time where you can't keep going along with that shit? If he goes, because if you think about it, the way he plays, if he joins a championship team or makes a team and wins a chip or two, he'll be going down. He could go down as a top 10 player all time. He's that talented.
He's that good, yeah.
He's that talented. He is that good. He is just as good as Steph Curry in terms of shooting the ball, and better clutch player than Steph Curry. Like he's a very, very talented player, but we've never seen him with players around him. Like
nowhere near the shooting talent of Steph,
but a better clutch player, more clutch player.
Yeah, those two are 1 and 2 for guards at the moment. And as you said, Dame could really push himself to be like a top 3 guard of all time if he's in the sort of position that Steph Curry has been sort of gifted throughout his career with the Warriors. So, yeah, it's unfortunate for Dame because we love watching him, but I just don't think he's ever going to climb the mountain and win that championship, unfortunately.
Yeah, I don't think so. No, not for his eye. We don't know how good of a shooter we don't really know how good of a shooter he is either, I don't think, because we've never seen him play with another player that the team is forced to guard. He's always got 2 guys on him, always. They've never had to worry about a Klay. He's never had a Klay Thompson to his left or a Kevin Durant to his right or a Kyrie Irving.
You can't compare CJ to any of them.
No, like not even close. CJ's he's not even a fringe all-star. He's just a 18 to 20 a night guy. He's another Norman Powell. So
if he wasn't in the backcourt with Dame, you wouldn't really hear much about CJ McCollum at all.
He'd be like Buddy Hield. No one would give a shit. So
maybe not that bad, but
probably not that bad. Probably wouldn't have as many big nights actually. Buddy Hield probably has more bigger nights. Anyway, that was props to Denver. Good win. Denver move on. Don't think they'll be going much further, but props to Denver.
Yeah, I think they might lose in the next round, to be honest, but we'll get into that a little bit later.
Yeah, we'll get into that later. Now, the other game, which we just finished probably within half an hour ago, Lakers and the Suns. I'll let you start, Dogger.
Cannot believe it.
Neither.
It's shocking. Both finalists from last year have now gone out in the first round. So
that's nuts, isn't it?
I don't know when the first time or last time that ever happened, or if it's ever happened.
Yeah, it has.
Yeah, I put my money on it never happening before, but Yeah, the Lakers just couldn't show up. No AD for Game 5, and then Game 6, AD comes in and just barely plays even 3 minutes, I don't reckon, with that groin injury. So LeBron tried to put the team on his back as best he can, but I think it's pretty evident that he's not 100% either after that ankle sprain. So, yeah, it's a bit of a worrying time for the Lakers. They've got the full squad they sort of need and everything they need, just been unlucky with injuries. So there's not much they're going to be able to do over the off season, like they pulled a few strings with last season. But no, hopefully they can bounce back next season. I'm sure they get a higher seed next season, barring injuries. But yeah, really disappointing year for them and just a huge shock for everyone, I think. What do you reckon, Ken?
100%. I mean, ankle sprain obviously looks to be the reason why LeBron wasn't attacking as much as he normally would and having that burst. Or maybe LeBron's just showing he's 36 years of age. You know, it's a long season.
Undefeated.
It's a long season, and I know he was, playing MVP level. That's to start the year, but he's 36 for God's sake. He's 37 next year. Like, maybe it's catching up to him. I mean, he can't. He's not superhuman. He can't be going at 100 million miles an hour every single year. So next year, I think will be interesting. We'll really get a real gauge on if he can, because you have another long off season, and last time in a long off season, he went and won the chip. So
True.
long off season to try and get himself back together. AD as well. So, but it's interesting because they really went that path of let's go 2 stars and then spend money on role players. Let's actually get some, not just spuds. Let's give KCP a bit, Schroeder a bit, Harrell a bit. They didn't do the Brooklyn methodology with just 3 dogs or Miami. Or Cavs to a degree. Barely even
played Montrezl Harrell in the.
That's the thing. Now it's starting to look like all right. So at first, I like the idea of having 2 stars and role players. I thought that makes more sense than a big 3. Maybe not, because as soon as one of them goes down, you're stuffed. At least if you got 3, you got another one to break. You got another one to back. You got still 2 on the floor, and then you don't really want to trust these role players because Harrell couldn't even play. Schroeder had the worst 3 games you've ever seen with. 2 games, 0 and 8 in 2 of the games. Who else is there? KCP was deplorable, averaging 2 points 3 points was it? I think it was, Doug, up until today's game.
Yeah, 3 points, 2 rebounds. That's all.
These guys that they put money in were useless.
Like last off season, we were hyping them up when they got everything going and they had an unbelievable off season. But it's just weird to think that any of those role players we were actually hyped about because none of them came and showed up at all. Like as soon as AD went down, even players like Kuz, who we expected to step up, couldn't step up whatsoever. And it's a mind boggle that everyone wanted to keep him instead of Brandon Ingram. And look at what Brandon Ingram's going and doing now. So yeah, it's a big loss for the Lakers. But I think I want to talk a little bit more about the Suns and just how impressive they are. Like honestly, I cannot believe how much of a difference Chris Paul's coming and made. Like, I know they went 8-0 last year in the bubble, and Book was ridiculous. And with their new coach, is it Monty Williams?
Yeah,
I think it's Monty Williams. Yeah, him and Chris Paul have obviously just grabbed the leadership by the throat and just taking control of it. And yeah, Chris Paul has just proven that he should have been in the discussion for MVP, getting the Suns out of a playoff drought and then into what could be a conference final run at the moment, or even a finals run, to be honest.
Oh, it's wide open now, and with the fact that Dallas are a game up on Clippers, that West is wide open. And yeah, I think Suns
as well.
Yeah, I think Suns. They got that 2 seed Suns. Like that could have been a 1 seed as well. The fact that Chris Paul didn't get MVP votes or didn't get into discussions is blasphemous because he was unbelievable all year. Really hope he can stay fit because we're both on the Suns bandwagon now, mainly for Chris Paul. So hopefully,
it'd be great to see Chris Paul win a championship. Yeah, he looked completely fine today. He was sort of shooting really well until the end. He had a couple of misses in a row, but shooting well and controlling the offense well as he has done all year and all through his career as well.
Maybe you could say they were leaving it open on 3s. He doesn't have the power for those, but it was still controlling and running the point, no worries. So Phoenix Suns, they're going to be something to watch, I think. And I cannot wait for their next series. And
Chris has his hunger in him now that this could be his last year and last shot at it. So he's never made it past the conference finals, never made it to finals. So, it could be a massive year for him. And I think all the players are going to get behind him and want to push him there as well. So, with additions like Jay Crowder as well, could be massive. We showed
he was good today.
He showed how big he can be, and he was huge in the last 2 games of this series, and was obviously huge for Miami last season. But far out, he actually shut down LeBron. Maybe better than most people I've ever seen.
No, I have to agree. Jay Crowder, he's really he might be a top 5 3-and-D player in the league at the moment. The way his 3-and-D is unbelievable, and he doesn't get any respect. I mean, like you said, last year he played a pivotal role in Miami. He had a pivotal role in that Boston team for a while there, and then obviously having a huge role in this Phoenix team. He's a really good player.
Yeah, but at full strength, like LeBron might have dominated him, but he just used his strength to his advantage and his size, and really just wore down LeBron throughout the series, and it sort of showed quite a lot. So it's weird not to have LeBron in, but it just blows it wide open, I reckon. So
that's what I think. Yeah, it feels weird having no LeBron, and we're both LeBron homers, but makes it very wide open. I was just looking at this before. If Dallas hold on to knock out the Clippers, which they're up 3-2, and then you go through it all, there's only 4 players left out of the whole entire thing that have won chips. Danny Green at Philly. You've got JaVale McGee. He's not even going to play minutes. Doesn't really count. And it's just KD and Kyrie at Brooklyn. Sure. That's it. So this is a wide, unless Brooklyn win, there's going to be fresh blood no matter what, somewhere.
Yeah.
How unreal. I'm excited. I'm probably most excited I've been for a playoff series now in a long time.
Yeah, well, it's always like one team coming up against another who doesn't have any experience most of the time. Like last year, none of the Miami players had finals experience, and so on and so forth. Like even the Raptors 2 years ago as well. But this year, if the Clips get knocked out and then somehow the Nets go down as well, no one's got any finals experience at all. So it's just pure talent and pure sort of system, and whose system is going to come out better.
Yep, exactly right. And if we saw a Bucks Suns final, now that would be something fun to watch. Watching this just two teams that have got nothing, no finals experience at all. I think it would happen this year. All right, well, talking about that, let's get on to our bracket. Who we think might go on. So you can start with your bracket if you like. Go through this round who you tipped and what you got right and wrong.
Yeah, so I don't know if we did tips on the podcast, to be honest. I don't think we did, but in the first one, I'll go from the West. I picked the Jazz, and Jazz won pretty comfortably 4-1. Grizz showed real grit and were really awesome. Managed to take one off them, but got the pretty easy win in the end. And Denver won today. Pretty surprised by that, to be honest, after Jamal Murray went down. And especially with looking at it on face value, how Denver's like backcourt, we're going to defend the Blazers backcourt, which obviously is one of the best in the league. But far out, Campazzo and Rivers and all the sort of team defense just really crowded, mainly CJ, because Dame still went off and had his numbers, which you expect, but no one else really stepped up for the Blazers as well. And I tipped the Lakers as well, which we hinted on, but the Suns managed to take the win. So what do you reckon of the first round of the West?
Yeah, well, I was much the same. Well, I think we went exactly the same tip to the West. I went Jazz, Dallas, Blazers, and Lakers. Obviously, still waiting on the Dallas game. But, Jazz, no surprise. Dallas still in play, and I think they can do it. Blazers, I tipped the Blazers. I thought that was one of my tips of the whole entire series, actually, out of all of them. I thought Blazers to beat Denver. I really rate that, but eat my words. And then, Lakers, I think, I think not too many people tipped Suns before it started.
No.
After game 1, when AD gets injured and then you can see LeBron's not fit and then Suns shock them, you go, all right, mate, there's a series on your hands. But, not much more on that.
It's easy for me to say it now, but I very nearly tipped the Suns on our little tipping competition we've got going, because I saw that 86% of the public had tipped the Lakers.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking the Suns, they're the second seed. They've got all the home court advantage against the Lakers and could really upset them here. And I decided to go against it because the Lakers were just too good healthy, but they couldn't stay that way. So, big win from the Suns, though.
Now, moving on to the East, I had a clean sweep in the East. Philly won, which is no real surprise. It wasn't a sweep, but whoop-de-doo. It was a 4-1 gentleman's sweep. Once Embiid went down, we'll talk about that more when we do the next round with Philly. Hawks and Knicks, that was my the series I was most excited for. Felt a little bit flat, didn't it, to be fair? I thought it was going to be a lot more intense 7-game series than what it was. I didn't expect it to be a 5-gamer.
Yeah, I thought it'd definitely go 7, and a game 7 in the MSG is pretty hard task for anyone, especially a young Hawks team. But the Hawks really surprised me late in the year after they sort of changed around their coaching staff, and Nate McMillan got the nod. They had like some stupid record. They went like 26-11 or something like that in the last 30-odd games of the season, and now obviously they've gone on to a second round of a playoff series. So you would never really have guessed it, but Hawks massively surprised me there. But well done to them. I picked the Knicks, obviously. So
the last 2 games we had the Bucks and the Heat. I think most people took the Bucks. Heat just didn't look the same as they were last year. Bucks got it through very, very. I didn't expect it to be a 4-game sweep, and the way it was done, 30-point wins. It was every game. I think was a 10+ point win. I think it was.
Yeah,
it was ugly, and we both hit Bucks there clearly, and same with the last one, Nets and Celtics. I think everyone took Nets. I had Celtics maybe winning one. They did get one in the end just because of Tatum's brilliance, but that's about it.
Yeah, it's looking a bit bleak for the Celtics, to be honest. Like,
it is.
Obviously, they've got Kemba there now who just can't stay healthy, and really unfortunate with Brown. But it's looking like that team, if Tatum's not dropping 50, then they can't really win without Brown. So it'll be interesting next year. I reckon they'll be a lot better next year. Obviously, they've got a new coaching change coming next year with no Brad Stevens at the helm.
Danny Ainge, you mean?
No Brad Stevens at the helm. He's not the coach anymore.
When did that come out?
Did you not see that?
No. Danny Ainge stepped down and he took on head of basketball operations and head coach, I read.
Brad Stevens is now leading the search for a new coach.
What the fuck?
So coaching change for the Celtics. I don't know if that will shake things up. I don't think you're going to find many coaches better than Brad Stevens, but they can definitely give it a shot if they want. So it'll be interesting to see what's to come for the Celtics. So I can't believe you hear about that.
So he's taken over as president, and now he wants to find just to be a president and wants to find a new coach.
Yep.
Wow.
See, I'd rate Brad Stevens as a coach over basketball operations, but he's a smart guy. I'm sure he'll do a good job with it. Who knows?
I do rate him as a president a lot, but I would like him as both.
Yeah.
Wow.
Just tactically, I think he's so valuable, but
yeah. So it's exactly. Well, there you go. It's breaking news for me. Far out. Okay. Yeah, I've just read it. There you go. Yeah, we'll leave the search for the team's next head coach. Anyway,
huge.
Interesting. Celtics. Who would have thought this? I thought they were on the verge of something great with those 2 youngsters, and I thought TT coming into that team looked good, and Kemba was a mixing piece, and fell flat.
Being like three points away from a finals like 3 or 4 years ago, really has turned on his head now. So.
And last year too. They only just fell to Miami in the game 7 too.
Yeah, true. Yeah, not wrong.
So they've been around the ball for a while. So it's interesting if you're a Celtics fan. All right, well that's the East done. We'll move on to the next round. We'll stick in the East because we've just spoken about it. Who have you got taking out the first game between Jazz and whoever it is, Dallas or Clippers?
Oh, so we're going to the West now.
Sorry, I'll move on. Yeah, sorry, back to the West. My bad.
All right, so I still think that Dallas are going to win. I was shocked that we took the first 2 games against the Clippers in LA, or took the first 3 games against the Clippers in LA, and no teams won at home yet in this series. So I think we're going to be the first team to do it. Game 6 back in Dallas, I think it's going to be huge. I think we're going to take the chocolates there, but we'll go on to face the Jazz, and I'm going to take us against the Jazz, to be honest. I just think we've got more firepower. Conley's now done a hammy. So what could that mean for them? He's sort of their organizer and their main playmaker. So I reckon we can sort of nullify Jordan Clarkson getting hot, and then just keep Bogdan Bogdanovic out of it a little bit, and then I think we can win after that. So I rate the matchups as Doncic against Donovan. I think he can play better than him. Hardaway against Clarkson, and Porzingis, if he can cause Gobert some PR trouble, then we could really, really get something going. We've got plenty of undersized centers to throw at Gobert, which he normally struggles with. So, yeah, I reckon it'll be a big series, but I think we could win that in 6 or 7 for sure.
Interesting. Well, I'm also taking you guys to hold off the Clips and then go on to take Jazz. I'm going to go flip that around and I'll take the Jazz to beat you guys. Mike Conley, only a mild strain.
Yeah.
If he's day to day, if he misses any time at all, if he does miss time, would be shocked if it's just the first game and they bring him back straight after that. So I'll be taking the Jazz there. I think Jazz is going to be too big for you, to be honest. And Donovan Mitchell is a superstar talent. Take nothing away from Luka Doncic. But Doncic is the best player on the court, but Donovan Mitchell is unbelievable to watch, and he's got the better team around him, I think. And just because KP's been so average, Porzingis, he hasn't really shown much. He's not a genuine second star at all. He's just has been a bit underwhelming. So I think it's too much of an ask. Doncic should be in a 50-point triple-double every night, I think. And he's very capable of it. That's the scary part, but it's a lot to ask.
So, I don't know. I think we've got the size to throw a Gobert. Like, I think with Kleber, Powell, Porzingis, and Boban, you might laugh at it, but Boban's, like, seriously causing centers some trouble. So, if we can get Gobert in foul trouble, I think it's going to really bode a lot for us. And I don't think they've got the perimeter defense to hold us off. So, we'll see how we go, but it will be a good series regardless.
It will be a very good series, I think, yes. Then on the other side, we will have Denver and the Suns. Now, this series, I think the Suns win this very easily, actually. Just because of what I've seen, even if Chris Paul isn't playing every game, I still think without Chris Paul-less Suns of D-Book and Ayton and just role players, and Cameron Payne, who's just been a revelation.
Big time.
I think they beat Denver, and I would even say they could sweep them.
Yeah, I wouldn't be against that. I reckon a sweep's definitely on the cards. Maybe a gentleman's sweep. They might snag one in Denver, but Phoenix are just seriously, they're a serious team, serious contender right now. So I could definitely see the Suns sweeping this, just with the fact that their backcourt is probably their main strength at the moment. And that's what Denver sort of is their weakest point. So especially guarding the backcourt as well, I think D-Book and Chris Paul can really make him pay, and then even Campaign coming off the bench is just going to give him a massive problem. And MPJ has been on fire as well. He was probably the main reason they won that game today. The Nuggets did, but I think Crowder can really shut him down after he's shown what he can do on LeBron. So
They've got the perfect matchups. Crowder to throw at MPJ. Ayton's perfect for Jokic because Jokic is a big boy. He doesn't like being run around. He's going to run all day.
Yeah, he will easily. And he can meet Jokic to the rim, and he's pretty crafty around the rim, so he can maybe even expose Jokic on the block in that way. But we'll see how we go. Jokic is the MVP and he's an absolute gun, so he could carry them to a few wins and surprise everyone. But we'll see how we go.
No doubt. So we've both gone this. We've gone split there with the Jazz and Dallas, and we've gone the same with the Suns. We'll flick over to the East, which I thought we were on before, but now we actually are on it. Philadelphia and Atlanta. Who would have thought this would have been a matchup? I'm going to start just by going Embiid is the question mark here. If he plays, then it's a no-brainer for me. It's probably a 4-1 Philly if he plays. I think Atlanta might sneak a game. Trae Young will just go stupid 8 for 12 from 3 or something and sneak a game. If Embiid's out for this series, which is a genuine shout because he has a genuine meniscus tear. If he's out, I'm taking Atlanta.
And I heard from someone who has had a meniscus tear, a partial tear is terrible. So the reason a partial tear is terrible is you don't actually need your meniscus. So a lot of common surgeries have the meniscus, they just snip it and you don't need it. Or you can have it tied back together, which Jaren Jackson did, and it slightly helps your explosiveness and athleticism. But it takes longer to heal. But with a partial tear, it's sort of flapping around, and every time it flaps around, it causes a lot of pain. So Embiid's going to be in some serious pain if he does play, and with how big he is and how heavy he is, it's going to be a real struggle for him, I reckon. But regardless, after what I saw from Simmons, and I've been talking to you about this, I want Simmons to take over this team and really be the key force on offense. Because he's got the passing ability, which is elite, and he's got the scoring ability. He scored 42 on Gobert, just earlier this season. So I think he can really take on the Hawks, and I think Philly are going to win this one regardless of Embiid playing or not. So,
Well, we split that one. I heard a stat. I can't remember the exact statistic behind it, but it was Trae Young. It's a bit of a skewed stat, but it's an ESPN stat. But Trae Young is the only player, along with Michael Jordan, to have back-to-back 30-point games at Madison Square Garden, or something along those lines.
There you go.
There you go. Trae Young, maybe the next
Good
Michael Jordan.
They're not going to be playing at Madison Square Garden in the
No,
Philly series. So
no, I'm saying Trae Young's the moment. He's made for the moment. I reckon that kid. He is made for the big occasions. So he's going to go to Philly, and I love it.
Who do you think guards Trae Young?
That's the thing. Do they put Simmons on him, who you would assume would just bully him?
Yeah, I think they do.
But Trae Young's done this all season.
Won't allow him to get up any shots anywhere near the paint, and we'll just make him shoot threes all game. So I think they'll mix him, Tybal, and Danny Green and see how they go with that.
Good offense always beats good defense. And
true.
I think Trae Young's a star. I think he's really that good that he could honestly take over this team and drop 35 a night and win it for him. So, and he's got some good role players around. And Collins has been okay, but
yeah,
solid.
It is a good team.
It's okay. Lou Will is still a guy you want coming off your bench who can give you buckets like no tomorrow. Same with Bogdanovic.
The
same with
Clippers
Herder.
are missing him right now,
aren't they? Just and then obviously they've got big men. They've got Capella, Gallinari. These guys have got playoffs experience. They both made finals themselves. They're not Capella with Houston, Gallinari with Clippers. Not Clippers. He's not finals experience, but been there.
I was confused where he was getting his finals experience from.
No, I was thinking the Clippers did, but they never made it that far. They always fell short. But playoff experience regardless. So I like Atlanta. They're a good team. Now the other side of the East, the Bucks and the Nets, probably the series of all series.
Yeah, this is what I wanted to say. This is what I wanted to see. We were talking about this in the first round, and I just think the Bucks have the perfect matchup defensively for the Nets.
Perfect.
You look at it. Yeah, you look at it. Drew Holiday on either Harden or Kyrie. And then you got Giannis and Middleton can switch on either a Durant or Harden as well. So it's going to be an unreal series, but I'm going to have to take the Bucks in this one. I think they've learned from the years gone by, and I think Drew is really that key to unlock their offense and defense. So they've been playing very, very different basketball to what they have in the past, and I think that's going to continue, and I think they'll hold off the Nets only just, though. I think it'll be 6 or 7 games quite easily.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going to go Bucks in 6.
Yeah.
I think you're right. The perfect matchup ever. And the Bucks are flying, and they destroyed Miami. Let's not overlook that win. Miami were the finalists last year. They didn't even let anyone score over 20 points. Average over 20 points in that series. Butler couldn't get near it, and we've seen him against good defense. Bam couldn't get near it. And Bam's a similar build and build to like a KD, for example, and Giannis just bullied him. So
yeah, big time.
And the main thing that I think that makes Bucks win this is there's no pressure this year. Pressure's off. No one's talking about it. No one cares about the Bucks. I mean, 2 years ago it was MVP Giannis. They got to win. They lost. Last year, MVP Giannis got to win. They lost. Now it's like, who gives a shit about the Bucks? Oh yeah, like no one really cares, and they are a better team now because they've upgraded with Drew Holiday. So
they have, and Dante DiVincenzo has just broken through this year. He's been unbelievable, and statistically, he's been like one of the best perimeter defenders along with Drew Holiday. So if he's out for this series, which he possibly could be, it would be a big blow. But I'd love to see him in and guarding big minutes on Kyrie, which I think he would be. So it's going to be an interesting series regardless. So.
And also, there's one thing about the Nets. Are the Nets a little bit like the Clippers last year? Coming in, they didn't really have much. What's the amount of games those three have played together?
I think it's
last series,
15.
It'd be less than 10, I want to say. Yeah.
Yeah, less than 10, I think, with the playoffs excluded.
Yeah, it'd be bugger all. Do we know what their chemistry is? What's their chemistry like? How good is their bench really? They don't go to the bench that much in playoffs, but it still needs to be there. And then you go, all right, are they all fit? Harden's just come back 1 game in before the season ends. KD missed substantial amounts of the year and last year. So do we know that there's a lot of cloud over that team? But when you've got 3 of the top 5 players in the league or top 10.
I also think the Bucks have the size to take on the Nets as well.
Yeah, don't they?
If you put Giannis at the power forward and you put Brook Lopez at the center, it's going to be really hard to deal with. And Nets just literally do not have the size to deal with that. So I reckon Brook Lopez might feast for 10, 15 minutes a night and really give him a boost. So it'll be an interesting series regardless. And
Lopez isn't like a DeAndre Jordan that's a liability in playoffs. You can actually play him and he can shoot threes or free throws. Very, very good at both. So he will
And
get
could
some
be an
minutes.
impressive defender as well. So
Yeah. Oh, averages a lot of blocks. So that's going to be a ripping series. That's going to be a ripping series.
it will be.
Sweet. Move on to the finals then. The
Yep.
conference finals. So we'll go back to the West. You have Dallas taking on Phoenix Suns.
The Suns. Yep.
Yeah. And?
So I reckon, obviously, you got to say Dallas is going to win and make our first finals since 2011. So 10-year drought. That's all right. Doesn't matter. But onto this one, we won't have a 10-year drought for a very long time. And yeah, so I think we'll move on to the finals. I don't see Chris Paul's shoulder holding up, unfortunately, which is really going to hinder the Suns. So I reckon, yeah, Dallas in this one. We just got the firepower that the Suns don't really have. They got the good defensive system, but I think we've just got the firepower and they're not going to be able to hold that out. So a bit biased, but definitely be taking Dallas in this one. I hope KP heats up as the playoffs go on as well.
A bit. Okay. Yeah, a little bit biased, I guess. My West conference final, I've got the Suns taking on the Jazz. And much like you just said then, I don't know if Chris Paul's shoulder's going to hold up. That's the main thing. I think if Chris Paul's shoulder hangs in there, I'll take the Suns to beat the Jazz. Because he can guard Conley and or Donovan very well. But yeah, I will actually. If Chris Paul's in, it goes to 7. It'll be a coin flip, I reckon. But if Chris Paul's out, I'll take the Jazz no matter what. So, but overall, I'll take the Jazz to beat the Suns in the Western Conference Final. I think the Jazz I've never really rated, but after watching them against the Grizzlies, as soon as Donovan came back, you go, "Oh no, they're a good team."
That is a Grizzlies team that you didn't even think would make the playoffs.
No, this is true. So we shouldn't overrate it that much. But you could see that. All right, no, they actually are a very good team. When Conley's in there with Donovan Mitchell, they've got players around them. Their bench is the best bench in the league. They've got the best bench in the league. They've got the best defender in the league. And, well, award-wise.
Yeah.
And then they still got all-stars in Conley and Donovan. They're a good team. So top to bottom, they're probably the best team.
And they're deep as well, yeah.
Yeah. So, Jazz for me. I never thought I'd be saying that. All right, moving on to the East final. You have Philly and the Bucks. Who do you take there?
I think it's pretty obvious. We'll be taking the Bucks. I think the Bucks are just so strong this year. After Game 2 against the Heat, I called them to win it all. So I think Coach Bud's learned from his mistakes and sort of what has let him down in the past, and I think they're just going to overcome everything this year, and it's really their year to win it. So with no Lakers, and I don't think the Clippers will get through Dallas, I think all the big contenders are taken out. So I think, they go on to beat Dallas, and unfortunately Dallas don't get a chip this year, but it's good finals experience for us as well. But I think they'd take care of us in 4 or 5 games, to be honest.
Yeah, well, I said Atlanta would beat Philly if Embiid's out. So if Hawks make it, they'll get swept. If Philly make it and Embiid's fine, they'll lose in 5 or 6.
Wait, so I just lose track?
We saw the conference final, and you just went on to the next one. But that's all right. The conference final. So I will be taking the Bucks to beat Philly and or Hawks, whoever in that. Yep. And then, like you were saying, as you have your Bucks taking on Dallas in the final, I would have the Bucks taking on the Jazz, and I would also take the Bucks to win it all. So we've both gone the Bucks to make the final and win it.
Yeah,
simple as that.
There you go. Who would have thunk at the start of the season? Both Bucks
never me. Completely.
You and I.
We're nowhere near it, and now I've just had to go. No, I'm wrong. They're the team to beat.
Yeah, I'm very impressed with them. And
speaking on that, if you go NBA Championship, they are 3rd favorite right now to win at $6. That is good money. Brooklyn $2 favorites. Utah 4, Milwaukee 6. That's good value for
Utah
Bucks.
$4 to make it.
Yep,
and they beat no one.
Exactly. I think Milwaukee there. 4. That is some good money. I'll be taking Milwaukee because that's only going to drop once they beat Brooklyn. As soon as they beat Brooklyn, they'll go to $2 favorite.
Yeah.
So you've pretty much got a day to get on that, really. So
pretty much.
Bucks.
Brooklyn do have the first 2 games at home though, but I don't think that matters. I think the Bucks have more of a home ground advantage than the Nets do, especially in this series.
Yeah, it doesn't faze me at all. They might drop both at home. They might drop one. Brooklyn could win both at home, or at least definitely win one. I'm not fazed by that at all.
I think next year, yes, but not this year.
You're exactly right. All right, well, that's us done with the NBA. We've been on it for quite a hot minute, actually. So, but anyway, that was our breakdown. So we won't be doing that again. That's it done. Now let's move on to some Formula Ones, hey? Now, Azerbaijan kicks off in 60 minutes with practice one until tonight, P3 qualifying, and then the race. So 9:30 it is Adelaide time, which is just fantastic. Not a whole lot to speak about right now. Obviously, we haven't got the practice. Nothing's happened yet. Yep. But who's your tip to take out Azerbaijan? Mine's going to be a no-brainer and say Lewis Hamilton, just because team's too good, drivers too good. They don't lose two in a row. It's kind of like when you're back against LeBron after a loss. You're going to he's too good of a player. He'll come back. So I think they'll sort the car out. Monaco didn't suit the car, and it hasn't for a while. So I think Hamilton, for me, wins it very easily.
Yeah, I think Hamilton's just too driven and too sort of just pissed off at the moment, to be honest. Like, you heard on his radio at Monaco how pissed off he was and how the car. So they would have done everything. They would have been working on it just night and day just to get a sort for him. So they don't want to lose him, obviously, and they probably won't lose him, but still they'll just be working just in case. And obviously they want to come and win races. But did you know, Cam, no driver has ever won Azerbaijan twice?
Really?
Yes, never.
No, I did not know that. Is there anyone in the race today that can win it twice?
Well, yeah, you've got Hamilton, Bottas, and Ricciardo are the only three drivers who can go on and break that record. So with that record in mind, I do probably think Hamilton will win it, but I'm going to go a bit left field. I think the Red Bull car is coming along very, very nicely.
They're the best car in the league.
One Sergio Perez. Chico, my favorite driver, is going to storm home, I reckon, and it's going to be an unbelievable race. I think it will be a real tight one up the top with Mercedes and Red Bull going at it. So I think Perez will qualify really well as Azerbaijan, and we'll see how we go with that. But he's paying about $17 right now, so if you want to get on that, huge value.
Right, the Red Bulls are flying. They're the car to beat right now in terms of pace. Yeah, Hamilton's won the races this year because of his skill, but Red Bull is the car that is flying. So Perez, don't mind. He's a great driver, and he's been a little bit underwhelming, if we were going to be honest, so far. But it takes a few races Monaco, to get in. Yeah, good. It was good, right? He found himself a little bit in Monaco, but it's not easy to come into a new car and show off straight away. No one's really done that. I mean, look at Ricciardo.
Daniel Ricciardo, yeah.
Really look at Vettel. Like, it's very hard to come in straight away and have success like that. It takes at least 5, 6, 7 races for your team to start figuring out how you get that car built and made for you. So don't mind that.
I think Checo's peaking at the right time as well. And I think it could be massive. Obviously, there's always the likelihood in Formula One that there's a crash or a engine failure or a pit stop issue in front of you. So I think Checo will take full advantage of that, and he'll be hungry for a win and some points at Red Bull. So
rate it. All right, now let's wrap up the show with some AFL tips for tonight's game. Tonight we've got the game of the round, Friday night, as it should be. The ladder leader, Melbourne Demons, taking on Brisbane Lions. This is going to be a classic. Odds are $1.80 a piece, $1.90 a piece. They're jumping around the shot all day. I can't wait. Langdon out for Melbourne. Lockie Neal comes in for Brisbane. Huge for both teams. A huge out for Melbourne. Huge in. The biggest in you can get, pretty much, a Brownlow medalist for Brisbane. I'm taking the Lions, and I assume you're taking the Demons. So we'll split the bets there, but more just around the actual game with disposal markets. You've got something with Dane Zorko, don't you?
Yeah, I'm pretty keen on Dane Zorko, as you hinted on earlier, just off the show. Zorko is going to be massively affected with his midfield time in this team with Neil coming back, and someone like McCluggage isn't really going to be. So pretty keen on Zorko's unders in this one, 25.5.
Breaking news. He's now down to 24.
You're kidding.
This morning he was 26.5, and since we've looked at it and spoke about it this morning, he's now down to 24.5. So we're not the only ones getting on him unders. Yeah,
they're listening. I told you.
I would still take 24.
Yeah, I'm still willing to take that. I don't reckon he'll put up 25 touches. I think Neil will obviously have his normal midfield time and his normal CBAs. So I don't think Zorko will go in there. And actually, if Zorko does go in there, which he will a little bit, I think Harms is going to go straight to him. Right. So I think Harms is a good little matchup for him. And it's a bit of a left field player that can be a game winner. But I think you'll see a bit of Harms on Lions as well. So I don't know if I'd go too much on the Lions touch getters for this game, but another one I'm also liking is Angus Brayshaw for 20 touches. So I hinted on that in the podcast we did yesterday. But I think that he's going to take Langdon's role 100%. And Tommy Sparrow's coming in, good SA boy. He's coming in. I think he's going to go to the other wing. And as I said, we do favour one wing quite a bit. And Brayshaw's a great user for us. So if he gets up and about and gets 20, 25 touches, which we know he can definitely accumulate, then I think we'll see him, get a really have a really big game and a really big impact on the game mainly.
So you don't think that James Harms goes to Lachie Neale at all?
I'd be quite surprised if he did. If Lachie Neale starts tearing up, then James Harms will go to him with a really hard tag, because we've seen that Lachie Neale sometimes can't really shake off a tag, especially if it's from a bigger body. But
not Cam Sutcliffe.
I was going to say, if it's from Cam Sutcliffe, then it doesn't matter. But who cares? Best at Cam Sutcliffe. But I think, whoever's really getting off the chain, Harms is going to go to. And it's hard to predict what the Demons coaching staff are going to do, because last week you'd presume it was Bontempelli, but went straight to liver and really choked out the Dogs from there.
Dividends.
So I think maybe even Lions, he's a huge player in the engine room for them. So bit of Lions, bit of Zorko, and go unders for Zorko as well, I reckon. So what do you reckon, Dan?
It's 24.5 Zorko right now. His average for the season is 24 touches. So he's bang on his average, and you can pretty much say that average does not include Lachie Neale. So he's been making his touches the last few weeks, like big time, having 30-plus games. But I would still be taking him 24 under. And I also, just because of that, just not because he's not going to win the ball, but I think he's just going to play more forward. He's going to go back to that half forward role where he's a really, really good player.
Yeah, he's dangerous there.
He's fantastic at that. So Zorko to kick a couple, I wouldn't mind having a play out either. Zorko for 2 goals is $8 odds, which I think is a bit crazy.
Really?
So, $8 odds for 2 goals. We're only talking 2 here. He averages 1 a game as it is. Whether he averages 1 as a midfielder, he plays a bit more forward because he's not going to attend as many CBAs, because they can't kick out the suitcase when he attends CBAs because he's just too good. Yeah. So, Zorko, $8 for 2 goals. Juice.
I think also what will restrict his touches going inside the forward 50 is Michael Hibberd, who's been playing unbelievable roles on some of the premier forwards in the game, like Dusty, and also played a role on someone else early in the year, but I forgot who, Matt Fife. So, he's really been strangling those sort of forward ball getters who can snag goals. So I bet him to do a job on Zorko as well. Beautiful.
But, Zorko 2, juice. All right.
Don't mind it.
That's it for this episode.
What about one I was liking before?
There's one more, yes. This one, I'm a little bit more reluctant. I'm not as keen as I was on it this morning, but I am still keen on it. Group 2 touches. Hugh McCluggage is the $2.30 favourite. Only $2.30, but him in Group 2 is surprising.
I was shocked this morning when I saw him in Group 2. That's why I messaged you straight away. And he's been a Group 1 winner this year. So I've got him a few times for Group 1. Multiple times. And Jared Lyons was really his only competitor. So obviously he doesn't have Jared Lyons in that Group 2 now. I think Stephen May, James Harms are some of the names that are in that Group 2. I'd be getting behind Hugh McCluggage for sure. He's having the season of his life, and Neale coming in almost helps him maybe getting that ball to the outside a little bit more. So I think it's huge. And if you want to double your money, then definitely be getting on that. Gamble responsibly, though.
To sum it up for Group 2, he has got the closest Melbourne player in terms of him for averages this year is Stephen May, who's averaging 18 touches. And McCluggage averages 25 this year. Wow. The closest from Melbourne is May and Brayshaw, both on 18.
Yep.
And then the closest from Brisbane is Mitch Robinson, who averages 20. So he's got a 5-touch lead on average on anyone else in that group.
Huge.
And that is huge. Harms has actually snuck himself into Group 1. So,
there you go.
And so Gore 19. So no one from Melbourne's over 20, and McCluggage's on 25. So that is huge, 100%. Now looking at that, I'm back on it.
Could be great value there, just from the name alone. So
yeah, I completely agree. And I think, like I said, Neale only makes it easier for him. So that is officially now the end of the podcast, our bonus episode. Hope you enjoyed it. We've got a few more bonus episodes coming over the next few days, don't we, Doggo, as we're stuck here in quarantine? Well, you are.
Yeah, we've planned out a little bit of a plan for the next few days while I'm still in quarantine. So you get your normal AFL pod next week, and then we might do like another F1 pod and another quick AFL preview for the Sunday games and some of the multis we're liking and wanting to get on. So stay tuned for more. Follow us on Instagram
at the Winger Podcast.
Follow us on TikTok
at Winger Podcast.
And also make sure you listen to us on Spotify, which you probably are now.
At Wing It Podcast. And check out our YouTube as well.
And exactly right. Check out our YouTube, Wing It Podcast.